Hello techies, welcome to Automation Anywhere RPA tutorials. In this session, we will learn how to automate tasks with if-else commands using Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client. By using if-else command, we can add conditional logic and perform actions when certain conditions exist. First of all, we'll see what are the subcommands available as part of Automation Anywhere. If you see on my screen, there's a lot of subcommands are available for the if-else command. If you see, the first one is that file exists or file doesn't exist. Another one, folder exists or folder doesn't exist. Windows exist or Windows doesn't exist. Application running or application not running. Script successful or script unsuccessful. TaskBot or MetaBot logic successful or unsuccessful. Ping successful or unsuccessful, service running or service not running. Along with that, we are having some more commands, subcommands, that is variable, file size, file date, web control, image recognition, Windows control, else if, else, and if. These are all the subcommands that we are having for if-else command. But today, what we are going to do, if you see on my screen that only the few portion of the if-else commands that I'm going to cover for the day. And the remaining things I will cover in the next session. Now I will explain you one by one about all these subcommands in if-else condition by switching to Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client Workbench. If you see on my screen, I'm already there on the Automation Anywhere Enterprise Client Workbench. I have created a new task, but I have not named anything as of now. If you see on the left hand side, we are having the commands. Under that commands, you can see if else. Let me expand that. If you see, these are all the subcommands. File exists, file doesn't exist. These are all the subcommands which I have explained right now. Let me explain you one by one by dragging and dropping onto the workbench. First of all, we'll start with file exists. Let me drag and drop this file exist on to my workbench. If you see, there's a pop-up window kind of window that we got it. If you see that I'm going to having select if command. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select if command. You can see there's a lot of radio buttons like if, else, and if. Based on that you are going to get the select conditions over here, right? That now we are going to talk about the file exists. So file exists, perform an action based on whether a file exists or doesn't exist based on your requirements. Okay, I will explain you more clearly about that by giving an example. So fine, suppose if you want to insert the data into an Excel sheet, okay, at that time that you required a file already into the particular folder. Let me go to my desktop. Here I'm having a college folder. If you see over here, I'm having student database or college info. The file or any kind of file that you want to do, you want to check that file exists or not, that you want to check it out before having the requirement. In that case, that you're going to be using file exists. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I have dragged and drop file exists already into the onto my new task. I have not named anything. Now let me go ahead, let me browse it. I'm going to check it out when I'm going to insert the data into the particular CSV file. I want to check out that file exists or not. Let's assume when I'm going to insert the data into the college info that the file is exist or not, that I have to check it out first. So that what I'm going to do, I'm going to select, see the particular file like C users, desktop, college info.csv file is exist or not. So that I'm going to select this file already exists, that I have to be the simple condition select if file exists, that call is info.csv file exists, then only that I am going to do particular action. Okay, what is the action as of now that I'm going to do? I'm just simply going ahead and I'm showing a message box over here. I'm just drag and dropping file exists. I'm just giving the information over here like that file exists. And I'm going to give the caption as message box if else demo. Okay, and I'm giving it as file exists. And you can see the scroll bar. If there is more than 13 lines, this scroll bar will be appear. The close message box after 5 seconds. If you want to, then you can go ahead and you can use this message box and you can select this checkbox. As of now, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to saving it. If you see these 4 lines, what is the purpose? If the particular file exists, then file exists. It is showing in the message box saying as file exists. Let me go ahead, let me save it. I'm going to give it the name as, for the particular task, I'm going to give it as if else demo, and I'm going to saving it. Now let me go ahead, let me run it. If you see, if file exists, see user desktop.college/info.csv, then file exists. Okay. If it is doesn't exist, what will do? Let me show you. I'm going to just changing the name as info1, and I'm going to saving it. I'm going to use else condition. Okay. How can I go ahead and do that? There is else that I'm going to do. Or I can use directly else over here. Let me go ahead, let me modify it. Else, I'm going to saving it. If you see, I'm going to drag and drop the same message box or another message box that I'm just saying it if else demo. Correct? File not found. And I'm going to saving it. So if the file is not found, then else going to the else condition, I think is saying yes, file not found. I'm going to saving it as of now, and let me go ahead, let me run it. So we can't find college info 1 into the particular folder, correct? I have renamed it. We are having college info 1.csv file, college info.csv file, but we don't have college info 1.csv file. That's the reason file not found. You got the answer. Simple thing is that this is the conditional logic. If you found that no, then only you are going ahead and you can check it out, this logic, and perform particular action. Okay, this is the simple file exist subcommand by using this thing. In the opposite way, what you can do, if file doesn't exist, you can use the same way. Okay, let me go ahead, let me comment this one for the time being, and let me go ahead and let me use file doesn't exist. So it's like a else condition like that. Okay, I'm going to use file doesn't exist. I'm just using the same thing, and I'm going to say as same condition, but I'm using file doesn't exist. So what is the command that I'm going to use it? That is if file doesn't exist subcommand. I'm going to use it over here, and I'm going to say a message box over here. I'm saying file doesn't exist. Okay, and I'm going to saving it. See over here, if you see in the previous thing that I have used else condition, now I'm going to use if file doesn't exist. Both are the same, but it's work as a else condition. Okay, and I'm going to saving it. Let me go ahead, let me run it. If you see that, because of, if you see over here the same thing else command, file not found or file doesn't exist, both are the same because of this file college1info.csv file doesn't exist. Okay, now I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to I hope you understand this one, what is the purpose of if else if else command by using file exists or file doesn't exist. Okay, now we're going for the another thing, that is folder exists. where we can go ahead and we can do that. There's the IFELSE command. I'm going to use folder exist. So in the same way, if you see right now we have seen there is the file exist or not, but if we want to check out if the folder exists or not, in that case that we are going to do the same thing. Okay, in the desktop, if you see I'm having college, correct? So I want to check out this folder exists or not. Then in that case, this is the folder. I hope the file having the extension, the folder doesn't have any kind of extension, right? If you see college is the folder that I want to check out this file, this folder exists or not, correct? Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to be if folder exists, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to showing a message over here saying that folder exists. Okay, I'm going to save it. Let me save this one and then let me go ahead, let me run it. Now, what is the output that, the folder college exists, that's the reason it will say folder exists. Now, if it does not exist, then what we have to do? Just else condition that I'm going to do that. What is the else condition? We're going to be using, see over here, else. I'm going to saving it. It's a simple thing. Don't worry much about that. Folder not exist. Else condition. I will show you that. If folder exists, then say it as folder exists. Else, show it as folder not exist. So to run this command, what I'm going to do, I'm just renaming it as college1 and I'm going to saving it because of that folder doesn't exist in the desktop. Okay, let me go ahead, let me run it. See, folder not exist. Which one? The college1 is not exist. Now we understand folder exists. Now let me go ahead, let me execute folder doesn't exist. It's a else condition kind of thing that what we have. Now let me go ahead, let me select a folder, let me say college1 and I'm going to saving it and I'm just copying this thing and I'm going to pasting it. So if folder doesn't exist, then message box show the pop up the message box folder doesn't exist. Let me go ahead, let me save it, let me run it. The first thing is that if you see over here, this is the first line number 14, it went to the 14 and it is showing as folder not exist. Let me go ahead, let me click on OK. And again, it went to the, no, there are two things, folder doesn't exist, then it is showing as folder not exist. That's the reason you're getting 2 times over here, folder not exist. Okay, this is all about the folder not exist and folder exist. Now, let me go ahead for the Windows exit. So for the time being, what I'm going to do, I'm going to disable all these commands for the time being, but all the lines you can see over here. Now what I'm going to do, Windows exit, exist, not exit, Windows exist. So what is the meaning of that? So this Windows exist performs an action whether a window exists or not, where it will be exist or not. If you see over here under this taskbar, these are all the windows. So you can see there's a lot of Windows automation anywhere. These are all the things are the windows. If you want to check it out, this window exists or not, then you have to check it out by using Windows exist. There's some other features also like that, if you want to check the specific application is open or not, then also you are going to using Windows exist. Or else if there is any error occurred, you are getting a window kind of thing, pop-up window kind of thing. In that case also you are going to be use Windows exist. If the file has been downloaded or not, in that case that you're going to be using Windows exist or not. Windows exist or Windows doesn't exist. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on the Windows exist. Let me show you that. Let me drag and drop onto my workbench or the task list, action list. You can see I have used the if select command that Windows exists. What kind of Windows? If you see over here, there's a lot of things are coming. There's the college. This is the folder that is, you can see there's the folders, right? These are all the things. You can see the all the things like that, calculator, all these things that what are the things are there. But if you see over here, let me go ahead, let me refresh if there anything. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to uh, open a calculator over here. Let me go to Windows and let me open a calculator. Okay, let me open the calculator. So this is simple window that I'm going to say it. Okay, now I want to check out this window exists or not. Let me go ahead, let me refresh it. Now let me go to calculator over here. Okay, and let me save it. Okay, if this window doesn't exist, then that's a different case. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just simply saying I'm opening a message box. I'm saying window exists, calculator window exists. I hope the remaining things, else commands, from here onwards, I'm not explaining because of, that you can understand it very easily. I don't want to prolong all these things. Okay, if Windows exists, calculator window exists. Let me go ahead and let me run it. So it is running it. See, calculator window exists. That's the reason it is showing. If you're going to be for the else condition, that if you want to show else condition, just close this window, then automatically you can see Windows doesn't exist. Okay, this is the thing that what we have. Now let me go ahead, let me explain for the Windows doesn't exist. It's a kind of else condition, correct? Now application running. What is application running? If you see what are the application runnings on my desktop, if you see that the performing an action based on the whether application is running or not. This condition applies if the application is running in the backside also. If you see this automation anywhere that this one of the application is running, for that purpose I'm not going to use anything. I'm just using another one that is called SQL Server Management Studio. This application is running or not. Okay, now I will show you this application is running or not at the even in the background also you can check it out. Now I'm not going to running the say all the things. I've just opened it. It's running right. Now let me go ahead, let drag and drop application running. If you see the select command, if application is running or not, how can we check it out where this application is available? Let me go to the properties of the SQL Server Management Studio. You can see the target path, right? Just copy the target path of any application. You can just do the target path and then go to the select application and then paste it. Just remove the double quotes. Okay, select application. You are just giving the application name over here. Then you can say, okay, over here. Now I'm just copying the message box. I'm just editing that message box. Okay, so what I'm saying, SQL Server SSMS application. I'm just modifying the message box every time that you are not drag and dropping that. So SSMS application is running. Okay, I'm going to saving it and I'm going to enable this thing, this line, and I'm going to saving it. If you want to use else command also, just you can use application is not running, then you can go ahead. I will show you directly over here. Application is not running. the same thing that what you want to paste the folder. No, sorry, the exe file. If you see, this is the exe file that you have to, and then go ahead and save it. If file doesn't exist, if application is not running, then you can say simply application is not running. Okay, now let me go ahead, let me save it. Now let me run this command. So if you see, this application is already running. Let me go ahead and let me run it. Application is running. I have given iOS, please don't mind. I'm going to click on OK. Now the else condition, if you want to see it, right? Just I'm going ahead and I'm closing this no SQL server. Now the application is not running over here. Let me go ahead, let me show you that one also. Let me go ahead, let me run it. If you see, application is not running. Now you understand it very easily when it is, when the application is open, it is running. When an application is closed, the application is not running. Okay, I hope the purpose of the application, application subcommand, application running, application not running subcommand, you understand very easily. I hope you understand very easily.